What? What? Hang on. Wait a minute. What? Hang on. Stop the music. We just got a raid. We got to get this thing started over here. Hang on. Welcome everybody in here. Oh my goodness. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It is so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is February 10th, 2025. It's the day after the Super Bowl. Yes. How you doing there, friends? Let me welcome in our Raiders. Oh my goodness. TBD Gamer rating with a party of 16 over there on Twitch. Thank you so much for getting us started. We're broadcasting live on Twitch and YouTube. Yes, I'm wearing the Chroma Key hat here. My gosh, it is an amazing day today already. Can you feel it in the air? It's so good. I'm so pumped up. Let me say hello to you out there. TMKDK with the big wave. Robson Previato, good morning to you. Surly Dev, good afternoon to you. Manoj, how's it going there? TBD, thank you so much for the raid. Yeah, we're going to have a great stream. My hat stand is here and knows this is a hat that doesn't say it's a thing. It says it's a Philly thing. It's in green there.
Just resubscribed so for 12 months.
1 year with us. Much appreciate. Thank you so much. Yeah, it does have the word Philly. It's hiding there in green. So you were wondering what that thing is? Yeah, absolutely. Check this out. Right, wait do you see this? Right, this is the amazing thing with this hat. It is so good. It is, right, this is the trick to this hat. And it catches folks off guard. Look at this. Ooh, it is a Philly thing. So there you go. Absolutely. How you doing there, Digital Dummy McNets? Good to see you there. So, here's the deal. I mentioned this on Friday. Yesterday was the Super Bowl, the championship match in American football. For those of you outside the States, might not be familiar with it. And my Philadelphia Eagles were playing in the match. And they were playing against those two-time champion, right? Repeat champion, going for a three-peat champion, Kansas City Chiefs. No small task to defeat the two-time champion. And whenever you see your team facing a team that is the champion of the league, the two-time champion of the league, dear Lord, it is tough to get up for that. However, I mentioned this on Friday. I'm an engineer. I'm somebody who relies on data, on facts to make predictions, to look forward and have some confidence in what's going to happen in a sporting match or what have you. And the numbers weren't there for Kansas City. The strength of the Philadelphia Eagles team was in their run attack. And Kansas City did not have a strong run defense. They had a good run defense. They didn't have a strong run defense. And they sold out to stop the run. They sent everything they could to stop the run. And they did a pretty good job holding the run. They didn't stop the run. They held the run. And the Eagles went right around them. And it was an amazing night for folks here in Philadelphia. My apologies to folks out there that were looking for a good competitive game because it was a blowout. The Eagles at one point led 34-0. At that point, I was literally on the phone. I had people from around the Microsoft verse. Is that a thing? Can I make that a thing? Chat room, can I make that a thing? The Microsoft verse? Texting me, oh my gosh, the Eagles are gonna win. The Eagles are gonna win. And I wrote back to him, there's never been a shutout in Super Bowl history. And folks were thinking, oh my gosh, Fritz thinks the Eagles are going to shut them out. It would have been really nice to keep Kansas City from the board, but you weren't going to keep that team off the scoreboard. It just wasn't going to happen. And sure enough, in the fourth quarter in mop-up time. The Eagles were leading 40-7 at that point. They scored a couple more points, and it was mop-up time at that point. When there's 9 minutes left in the game, and you're down by 6 scores, sorry, you're done. You're done. And the Eagles had their backups in at that point, so they had some opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. It was a phenomenal game for Philadelphia fans. For folks looking for a competitive, interesting game, sorry. Wasn't that way. How many light poles did I climb in celebration, though? None. Those days have passed this one by. No. I mean, what's funny is, like, that's a thing in the summer around here. Like, at camps that kids go to, and, like, they grease telephone poles, they grease lamp poles, and they'll put something on top of the pole. Hey, go climb up there and pick off the package up there, and you'll win a prize or something like that. Like, the kids have been trained for this for years. So it was it was an amazing evening in the town. I understand there were some fireworks that were ad hoc going off in the middle of the crowd, and that's not a happy thing. That's exciting. That's fantastic. But dang, that's scary to set off fireworks in the middle of a crowd. Like, that's not the safest thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Having a crowd milling around and taking over the city streets, pretty cool stuff. And a lot of fun. Go out and celebrate. Absolutely. The ad hoc parade, as it were, in the middle of downtown. But setting off fireworks, rockets, firecrackers in the middle of the street when there's 500,000 people milling around, man, you are asking for trouble. So let me get some music started here. I'm gonna go with the Stream Beats. Where is it? EDM playlist today. Something a little upbeat. Let's start here. This is called Blue is Green. Something upbeat, a little bit peppy. I'm only going to be on for just a couple of hours here, where we're gonna write some code. We're gonna talk about testing. We're gonna take a look at some of our Playwright tests. We've got some comments from folks that are working on additional tests to add to SharpSight, and I want to talk to you about an idea that a few of us, I don't want to say iterated on, but we kicked some ideas around Wednesday night last week at Sveitag in Stockholm. Really great event. Had a fantastic time there. I recapped and talked about that on Friday's stream. But I want to show you and talk to you a little bit about an idea that we had, and see if we can get something in just an initial feature concept developed here with a little bit of help from Copilot, and see where it goes. Mythin, thank you for the congrats. How you doing there? Digital Dummy asks, are they allowed to do that? They're not allowed. However, when there's 500,000 people around and the streets are absolutely flooded, you're not going to arrest these people. You just aren't. It's a flash mob. It's a riot waiting to happen if the police were to go and assert themselves. So, test. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of that today, just to get things right. I've always looked at testing as a way as insurance policies that we as developers write for ourselves. I'm going to ensure that this works the way that I want it to. Aloo the Crow.
Aloo the Crow just resubscribed. For 24 months, 2 months of learning superior Java C# coding skills with the man himself. Hope you're doing well, Fritz and chat. Keep rocking on Doro High Aluth Ace Pan C# Coffee Aluth Point.
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Like I said, my Philadelphia Eagles, our hometown team, won the championship, won the Super Bowl last night, so we're pretty happy there. Jazz Ariane, hello, nice. Warm Peas, hello to you. Thin Dog, greetings to you. Thank you so much, Alu the Crow. 24 months at tier 2. Appreciate that support. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Scrolling through. You're going to crash test your car to crazy before you're going to trust it to take your kids to school. Well, that's hopefully what the car company's done, right? Thindall usually writes tests to make sure that things work the way you expect it to. In 6 months and tons of new features, bugs. Exactly, right? And the thing that I want to dig into here that Thindall is coming right up to explaining 6 months after you wrote that initial test, after you put that feature in place. Do you remember exactly why you wrote that test? What that code is related to? The feature definition that corresponds to? So we kicked around this idea in Stockholm, and I'm sorry, my friend, that you didn't make it there. Hey, PC nerd. We kicked around this idea in Stockholm of adding a couple of... We'd like to add an attribute into our tests in a platform agnostic way, right? It isn't tied to X unit or B unit or N unit or MS test. There is an attribute out there that does a little bit of this with MS test, but doesn't go quite as far as I want to. And we'll talk about and dive into this a little bit. I want to be able to put an attribute on the test that says, this test exercises this feature. This test verifies that that issue is fixed. This way, when the pull request comes in from junior developer Chris over there, and Chris isn't entirely familiar about some of the decisions that were made a year or so ago, when that pull request fails because that unit test triggers, we can come back and look at that and say, well, here's the feature definition that you violated. PowerShell Freak
subscribed for 61 months.
61 months. 5 years. Oh, thank you so much for the support, my friend. And that kicked off a hype train. We are 75% to finishing a level 1 hype train. Much appreciate the support. Let me go back to chat. C# Titan, I'm not going to lie, I might have had a couple of extra adult beverages celebrating the win last night. Early this morning for folks out there in Australia. Thank you so much for the well wishes. We're doing good. Alu the Crow writes tests so I can safely forget about what I was doing last week. There's another great reason, right? You've only got so much room in the buffer up here. And write the tests to lock down and kind of purge out, okay, this is what this feature does. Here's what this bug is that I fixed. It was really complex. Here's a test that verifies it. And what I want to do is provide a link directly inside your code back to that documentation that explains what that test was, so that you have all of that information about it documented and stitched together in your software systems, so that when junior developer Chris comes along and breaks that thing that you spent all that time and finally purged out of your local buffer up here, they can go and identify how to fix it, what they did wrong, how their code that's being brought in needs to accommodate the original feature that you worked on. Yeah, we got to get the local buffer out here purged so we can refill it with good stuff that we're going to work on and deliver next time. Totally agree, Alu the Crow. I love the local buffer up here in our heads. Eric says, tests do mainly two things. They prove your code does what's intended. Second, they tell you when and where it breaks. Absolutely. And that extra little bit of documentation, I think, it does a good service to complete that human loop of not just, hey, this is broken, but here's why it's broken. Make .NET Config person and you'll be there. Digital Dummy asks, do I know about architecture tests? If so, what's my opinion on it? I've heard people talk about this. It feels extremely brittle. It feels like an extremely brittle idea, and it's not something that I want to spend a lot of time on. How you doing there, Eddie Dre? Good to see you. Ideas always come in Stockholm. Do they? They might also come in Helsinki or Berlin. I don't know about Madrid and Paris. I've heard good ideas come in London. So, this test is a validation that XYZ bug is now fixed. A little bit more than that. That's a good start. That's a good start. Because I want then in the report that the continuous integration system generates, I want the report to contain a link to that bug. So that when Chris, the junior developer, inadvertently trips that unit test, they can click that link and learn more about it. Decorative test feature grouping. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. C# Titan. Ooh, you got a couple questions, comments here. When going for a programming job interview, what are my thoughts on take-home tests and should you be paid for it? I had a take-home test that I can tell you, I interviewed with Yellow Book. They gave me a take-home test. They wanted to see how I'd write a little block of code to solve an issue. 30 seconds left on the hype train. I spent an hour or two going through and solving it. Anything more than an hour or two to solve for a take-home test is asking too much. And you should be paid for it at that point. I spent a lot of time making sure that I made that my commits had unit tests to go with them, had a good message to go with them, had only one commit in the pull request that I was submitting, so that it was very clear my development practices. Should you be paid for it? If it takes longer than 2 hours, I think so. Yeah. Because that's something where they're asking you now to do work for them for free. More than an hour or two, and it's not something trivial that they're trying to find out how you write code about. Have I ever been frustrated that someone in my company got a role that I think I deserved more? Yes. How did I deal with it? I went on a live stream and I complained about them. No, I didn't complain about them. I get mad a lot. I very much believe in the work that I do. I made it clear to my supervisor my feelings. I made it clear that was my goal. That was my that was something that I wanted as a career advancement. And we worked together to move in that direction. That's about all I can say about that. So, how do I manage success in my career and current job? To a fault. Borderline depression. I keep myself in check by not acknowledging my successes. To a fault, I do that. It's something that I struggle with. It's something that is a real challenge for me. Thindal has the connections to the folks at the Svitog event. By all measures, I had a fantastic week at that event last week. Very successful event. The audience really enjoyed my presence there. I think I could have done more. I think there was that I left some opportunities there that I could have done more with. But all said and done, I had a very, very good week in Stockholm.
Napalm
Napalm.
just resubscribed for 32 months. Good morning at Sharp Fritz. Happy Monday to all.
Good morning. Thank you so much. So, C Sharp Titan, it's a terrible answer for your third question there, but I do not manage success in my current job very well. I'll write emails to report on project successes, and hey, look, here's what we accomplished. That we're very happy with the project team here. Compliments go a long way in the business world. It doesn't take a lot to congratulate somebody on their successes. I have a hard time accepting that. And that's me. That's something that I struggle with because I always want to accomplish and be able to deliver and do more. If I could live stream for 16 hours and teach and do so much more online, I would. I can't. There's other things going on in my life that I have to do, and I can't. And I would if I could. You write tests to protect your code from sleep-deprived stupidity, says PC Nerd. Yes. Chris Funk says, no, I don't call you a junior dev. I see what you did there, Chris Funk. Jazzarian says, it's kind of context provided no matter what level you're looking at. Yeah, absolutely. Be proud but not cocky. Yeah, I have a hard time with that. Amsterdam, absolutely to banish. We got to go to Amsterdam and get some good ideas there. Thank you so much, .NET Arano. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Good ideas come in the office, often in the toilet of your office too. Thindalt, I'm right near. Good ideas for me come in the shower. It sounds weird, but good ideas come in the shower. So, WQ Walter asks, does Aspire provide all the functionality that is in Application Insights? Yes. Should Insights be removed? No. .NET Aspire provides more than the functionality that is in Application Insights, and there's an export that you can use to pump your data when you get into your production space into Application Insights. A big problem to be aware of, make sure you understand not to fix failing tests for the sake of simply making them green. Yes, that's right, Eric. Don't just fix failing tests, but make sure they address the underlying feature or issue. And that's why I want to be able to link these two. Hey, BSD guy, hello? Wise Otter with a big wave. Hey, Apricot, hope you're doing well in Ukraine. Hello, hello. Let me see, catching up here. You're welcome, C Sharp Titan. Apricot asks, is it a good idea to use Nano framework in my ESP32 pet project, or better to stick with C? It's up to you. What are you trying to... Depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Depends on which language you're more familiar with. Nano framework can do some really cool stuff, but it ends up boiling down into C anyway. So, kind of 6 of one, half of the other. Have a good one, Chris Funk. Thindall used to smoke, terrible habit, made tons of progress happen because you get some distance between leaving your computer and trying to relax, and you get some new perspective. Yes. Yeah, don't start smoking. It's not the smoking that got you ideas, fresh perspective. It's getting away from the tech. I used to go for a walk. I worked in a very small business park. We had a suite in a building, and there was only room for 20 desks or something like that. 3-4 offices in the wall. Taking a thought break, exactly. So, right? Hey, you know what? I need to clear my head a little bit. I'm gonna go out and go for a walk, and I would grab a. We're gonna take a look at the hat. Go ahead. There you go. I'm gonna grab a cup of tea. I'm gonna grab some lemonade, whatever it might be, and I'm going to go for just a 10-15 minute walk around the building. Clear my head, spend some time, not thinking about some of the things going on in the office, the project, for just a little bit, and having that little bit of time to clear out some of those worries, some of those other things that are going on, would trigger, that's how I solve the problem. This is my next step forward. Here's how I get past. Works fantastic. A glass of wine. No. Although that's not terrible. But no. Your dog is a great developer in that perspective. Yes, absolutely. Talk to your dog. That little bit of rubber ducking with your dog, with your cat. Absolutely. The filly is highlighted in the background color. It is highlighted in the background color. Oh, yes, it is. It's right here. It is. Come on now, Fritz. Right there. Right. Woo. So, hey, Motown Andy, how you doing there? C Sharp Titan asks, any updates on the visor glasses? How's the Charlie project coming along? The visor glasses, they're saying everything's going to be shipped in March. That's what they're saying now. Everything will be shipped in March. They've added in an AI agent. I forget what they call it. They've added an AI agent that is significant in that it doesn't just look up things like Copilot does, but it does a little bit more like a Siri or an Alexa does, where you can ask it to do things on your computer and it will do those tasks. Hey, go respond to that email with Thindall and let him know that blah blah blah. Open an issue on GitHub for this project and blah blah blah, and it will do those things for you. So they've been raising money to help fund the next group of products that they're building, but very much that AI agent they're going to put on the visor. They've already got a browser that's going to be delivered and runs natively on the visor, so that you can browse your email and you can do other things directly on the visor without connecting to a phone or a computer. So they've got some very interesting ideas of how the visor is going to change the way you compute. When those types of features come into play, then it makes me want to stand up a dev box. A virtual machine that's running in the cloud somewhere, install the immersed software on it, and then I can just run the visor and connect and be working on that machine that's in the cloud somewhere with just a pair of glasses and a keyboard in front of me. Neat idea. Corey Weathers, how you doing there, friend? Hello. They delayed the initial shipments. However, they're not saying that they delayed the initial shipments so much as they delayed the first customers that got the first shipments. It sounds like some of the investors got units in January, and they're testing and giving feedback as they wrap up things. But it sounds like the hardware is pretty well done. If you look on your phone at the order for the visor, it's gone. You had to submit your pupillary distance, right? The distance between your eyes, and it now says that the devices are being built. Okay, so we'll see. If shipping is in March, then production of hardware is at full speed. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. It is a Monday. Yep. Thank you so much, Motown Andy. The day when Eric's dog started coding sounds like a millionaire situation. No. My gosh, you wouldn't believe how much I talk to my dog Ozzy here and how he helps out. How you doing there, Johan? Great to see you. Hello. So I have a desktop agent that works with it. Yes. Ice cream stick model. What is today's plan to implement on live stream? We're going to take a look at some of the tests that some of our friends have submitted, some pull requests and comments on those, and we'll take a look at those in just a little bit here. And I want to dive into this idea of adding some notes to your tests to indicate what features and issues are addressed. Your cat likes to get some rest on the keyboard. That happened to me as well. I don't let the cat in the office anymore. Imagine slipping your visor on the train and working on a dev box. Oh, yes. Surly dev. That's exactly the idea. Yes. With either a VR keyboard or a little Bluetooth keyboard that you can put on the snack desk in front of you on the train. Yes. Absolutely. I am way on board with that idea. You grabbed a pair of well-known display sunglasses a couple years ago, mostly because of neck issue. Now I'm curious about what I'm talking about. So if you go to visor.com, go ahead. We want to take a look at this hat? Go for it. There it is. You can learn more about the visor device. I have a referral code if you want to check that out, and then we both get a couple bucks off if you're interested. It is a premium device. It's a first-generation device. 4K display in each eye. It supposedly looks amazing when you're working. So, VPN from phone, local hotspot, connect to work computer. Yep, all right in the wheelhouse of this thing. You need to be able to work and not move your neck. Work from multiple locations, like on-site but mobile. So I use a Meta Quest headset, and I had it with me in Stockholm last week, with the Immersed software. Now, it'll connect and work in Windows, but it's very much like you're in Windows. Immersed gives you the flexibility to use it. There's a bunch of different things Immersed does besides having social interaction things, being able to work without actually being connected to a machine, being able to get connected to a virtual machine somewhere else in the cloud. There's some stuff that they've done that is ahead of the native just connect to Windows thing. So, cats can count down the time to the next food. Oh yeah. You're trying to play around with integration tests and Aspire this weekend. That took a lot more time. I agree, Corey. Yes. Where is it? Right here. Totally agree. I've got some samples that you can look at on the SharpSight repository that does that very, very well. The Oculus gives you 3 1080 screens that are almost 180 degrees around you. Check out Immersed. You can pivot and change the screen orientation if you want, and you can really do some amazing stuff with it. You need prescription lenses. Mine are arriving in the next few days. Like they said it was shipped. Yep, shipped. There's the tracking number. And the last I saw it, they're saying it should arrive by Thursday. However, they're saying Tuesday because it's in my local regional office here. They're delivering it tomorrow because it's here and they're going to ship it. The local post office is going to deliver it tomorrow. I can't wait. And since they're prescription lenses to put in a VR headset, they're covered by the insurance. Oh my God, something covered by my insurance. What the hell? My insurance doesn't cover jack. When I'm on the other side of what's going on with my insurance company, I will tell you a lot more about it. And quite frankly, I'm speaking to a lawyer about it. And that's about all I can say about it right now. You went to the future, want in the future towards the end of your career to do the camper road warrior thing? Yes, I am with you as well. C# Titan asked, does Microsoft have any say on where I can travel and what events I can present at? Some. They will fund me traveling and presenting at various events. However, if an event wants me to come out that Microsoft will not fund, you're welcome to find sponsors and other folks that will help cover my travel costs. Yes. You need to test with your Aspire app. Definitely be checking out the repo. We can dive into that in just a second here. Prescription lenses go in your visor. They're doing that as well. They're working with Zenni Optical. Is that it? I forget the name of the optical company. To give them the specification. Here's the shape of the lenses in the visor. They just magnet in. Really, really cool stuff. The default workspace application on Quest, yeah. And it's kind of, you're seeing through it. And it's not bad. You get to see there's your 3 displays. And it's nice. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot more you can do with Immersed and move and position things wherever you want. And interact with them. And generate then virtual displays that you don't have. So, do I have any knowledge on how to interact Python with C#? Not off the top of my head, Robson. No. So, take a look at Immersed. It's free to get into. There is a limit when you start to add extra screens, extra virtual screens, unless you're subscribed or you bought a visor. And I'm on board with that. They're a small company and they need to pay their folks. So, all right, let's head over here to the code and let's talk a little bit more about tests with .NET Aspire. And then we'll get into some of these other topics that are coming down the pipe here. Where did it go? No, there was that. I appreciate the comments and folks interacting over here. Which one was this? Okay. So we updated a number of the things inside of SharpSight, right? SharpSight is this content management system that we're writing from scratch here on stream. It uses Blazor, it uses .NET 9, it uses .NET Aspire to help stand up and orchestrate the application. And as we're running this, one of the things we want to do is run unit tests with XUnit, and we want to be able to run integration tests since .NET Aspire will start up our entire application system and connect into that system and exercise a couple things here. So that's where we're going with this. Now, in the current release train that we're working on, V06, we've added this end-to-end folder here. And when you look in the end-to-end folder, this is a series of Playwright tests. Playwright is a tool that you can use to exercise websites. You can tell it how to navigate around, and it starts up a headless browser, an instance of Chromium or Firefox or Safari, to go and connect to whatever website you direct it to, interact with it, and report back the results. Really nice little tool, and we've started building just a couple of tests to log in and interact with and do some various things with it. Very simple idea here. Now, Corey and a couple other folks asking, well, how do we do this? Let me give you a link back to the root of the 06 tree here, okay? So that if you want, you can dive into that. But I added a script that's right here at the front, build and test PS1. And what's tricky with .NET is we don't have a built-in way with Playwright to start our application and then say, okay, now the application is started, go run these tests. So I wrote a PowerShell script with a little bit of help from Copilot. Okay, a lot of bit of help from Copilot to go through and start up the application. So, right, I specified here's the website URL that we're going to use. We're going to go start the process, and I have this really long command here that's going to actually start, literally call .NET run and specify app host to run. And it's going to put that process actually into a variable. We're going to make sure the website is running. Okay, we're going to actually invoke and try to get to that URL and see if we get a response. And we're going to try to get connected. If we don't get connected, website didn't start. Fail. Right? Exit. If it is running, that's great. We're going to drop out at this point and move along. Now, yeah. We might need to change that. Because the trick that we ran into here is if you tell .NET Aspire, if you take this process and you clobber it, you send a kill command, a task kill command into that, the containers, the Docker containers, the Podman containers don't get shut down properly. This is going to lead to problems in your next run of the tests. So we wrote a little escape hatch into this where it's the process, and you can see this inside of the SharpSite source code. Let's start that up so we can take a look at this. Yeah. Preparing solution. Let's go. All right, over here. Program CS on the app host. Here. If this is a test run, build and set up a file system watcher that looks for this file, stop Aspire. If that file appears, stop the website, stop the application, and it will gracefully shut down. And after we configure that callback, we tell it go ahead and run the site. If we're not in test mode, just go start and run the site. Okay. You write your PowerShell scripts as well with Copilot. Same, dude. Same. So that's what's going on here. So when this is all done, when the tests either fail or they complete successfully, it reaches into that app host folder and writes a little stop Aspire file. It doesn't have any contents in it, but just the appearance of it causes it to gracefully shut down. It's destroying your soul slowly. I'm sorry. Palin, hello. Hey, Dr. Cox. How's it going there? Twitch notifications are not thrown again. Yeah, look for the kill me file. You got it. Yep. You heard me mention an insurance issue. Took you a minute to find it at this site. No. Helps me submit an appeal by requesting a claim file. I can't talk further about the steps that I've been taking, but I can tell you that some folks at the insurance company are waking up and paying attention and have recognized that for the last year, and we'll see if they wake up and recognize that it's actually been longer than that. They haven't been the kindest of companies to one of their customers here. So that's about all I can say about that for right now, but I am quite upset with them. I have voiced my displeasure with them. We'll see what comes of it. And there is, I do have a lawyer that's interested in collaborating on this. So, and at the same time, I have my employer's benefits department that is paying attention to what's going on as well. That shooting was no wake-up call. What shooting? Anyways, so that's how the tests run, and then there is, of course, a workflow over here that runs those tests, and you can see exactly how it builds, how it installs the browsers, runs the tests. Okay, I'm sorry. There it runs the tests, and then I have this publish test results action that actually writes them out. Now, somebody shot a. That was in November. It was in New York City, and it was 3 days. No, it was 2 days after I was in Manhattan, and it was right around the corner from where I was staying. So that was really close, and there is very much a unrest in the United States that folks feel towards their health insurance companies. Many Americans feel lied to, betrayed, scammed by these companies that are supposed to be helping them pay for their health care. And when it comes time to actually use those services, because you're sick, you're not allowed to. Oh, have I got stories? When I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I was due to get wisdom tooth removed. So we went to my dentist. We're all set up. I'm in the chair. I'm about there. They literally put the mask on me to start putting me under to have my wisdom tooth removed. Literally 2 minutes later, my father comes running into the room, grabs me by the arm and says, "Jeff, we're leaving." And we got up and literally ran out of the office because the dentist, while was covered for regular checkups and whatnot, the surgery to remove my wisdom tooth was not going to be covered by the insurance company, and they didn't tell my father until they were about to start operating on me. So that $10,000 procedure or more, he literally said, "We're going to go find somebody that is covered." And we did. A week or two later, find another dentist that was in process, in plan, and we went and got that done. But come on. So, yeah, healthcare in the United States is extremely scammy. It does not feel, as a customer of an insurance plan, it does not give me good customer feelings, good customer support feelings. It does not give me good, my vendor that I'm paying for this, it does not feel like they're treating me as a customer with respect. That's how it feels. You're pretty happy with your insurance, but complaints are mostly nitpicks in comparison. Yeah. Oh, that McNets. I'm not even going to read that one. Sounds like the dentist's fault. You know what? It was almost 25 years ago at this point. I don't know. But the insurance companies and their accountants are sticklers for the rules. Yes. Very much so. All right. So this is how this code works, and we've had success with this code working to exercise and run tests to verify that our application is running. And we had a little bit of a struggle down here. You can see this in the actions around SharpSight, and this is why we're building SharpSight, is so we can learn and build some of these things and have this experience so that there's reference code that other folks can take and apply to your project. Content management system isn't for everybody. The things we're doing here aren't things that everybody's going to be interested in. But there's bits and pieces and chunks that are very interesting that other folks can take a look at. So you can see here, look at this. It add more unit tests. It ran for DGen 1 here, who's adding more unit tests. And that's coming out of this pull request over here. Oh, I see you removed the draft on this, so we can take a look here. Added web unit tests for sitemap generation, RSS feed generation, plugin manager handling uploaded plugins, and plugin unit tests to validate the manifest. So very cool. And when we look at the check, right, this was marked as ready to go. Fantastic. If we look at the playwright tests, we can see down here that there are 6 tests that run. 6 tests is how many we had before, but the unit tests here, we could see this is now up to 16 tests. And I think there was, what, 8 or 9 before? So it's another block that's going to help verify that these couple of features continue to behave the way that they're initially designed, right? So, a project to test plugins. Makes sense. And added into the solution file. Updated the RSS so that... Yeah, okay, so there's now a method called generate RSS, internal static string. And sitemap did something similar, I'm guessing here, it looks like. Not as much. But then here's the CS proj that will actually test these. It includes XUnit, references SharpSite plugins. Nice. I like how you're doing that. Validate the manifest for a plugin. Cool. Yeah. Oh, that's great stuff. Oh, that's great stuff. With the inline data to test against? Yes. Oh my gosh. This is great. Missing manifest throws exception. There we go. So here's a plugin. Manifest JSON not found in the zip file. Yes. Generate some RSS and see that it generates the content appropriately. Okay. Okay. I'm down with that. These could be raw string literals, but I'm okay with how it's written there. That works really nicely. Yeah, Mythin. Yes, please. Generate sitemap and then go through and do that. Cool. This looks really good. So I don't need to ask Copilot. What would I ask Copilot about this? There's a ask Copilot thing here. Ask Copilot what? Nah. I'm all right. Let's bring this in. Add more unit tests. And this is getting added into our 06 train. So we'll get that added in here. There we go. And this will run another set of tests to make sure that the merge didn't break. So it'll run, in particular, we're going to be interested in the unit test one here to make sure that this all runs properly. I'll let that run. Let me take a look here and catch up. When I said whoever added unit tests here, my Alexa device responded, oh no! Exploring the repo, you like the folder structure? Go for it, please. Right? I'm open to suggestions to enhance it, and at the same time, I hope other folks learn from it, find something that they like, and they run with it. I'd really like to add more readmes into the various folders, the various top-level folders. I think I want to update the readme in the end-to-end folder to include a link out to the Playwright site so folks can kind of pick up, here's how we run Playwright. So, But yeah, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Oh, and I want to make sure that we talk and figure out ways that we can set up Aspire to work better with your company's products there, Corey. I think there's a very cool story there that that would be magnificent to bring into .NET Aspire. So, and I'm probably not saying anything that your teams haven't thought about already. Napalm uses Playwright for behavior-driven tests to grab the Azure Ad token from the actual user login flow. Okay. You saw Keycloak there? Yep. Exactly. And that's where I think your team is going to be like, oh, we can do this better. So there we go. All the tests ran. They're all good there. So that should have created a badge. Where's my badge? There it is. 16 tests, 10 new ones that we've added into the mix here. And I'm going to roll over to the pull request. And we should see in the milestone 06 release train. There it is. And it updated our note to show that there's now 16 tests that are being assembled to go out on this. All right. Let's see here. What do we got? Oh my gosh, Steve Elliott.
Steve_Elliott just resubscribed for 55 months.
Thank you so much. 55 months with us. Much appreciate. Thank you so much for that support. What color theme am I using in Visual Studio? This is like midnight something. That's not the one. No, it was. Theme. Hey, right there, theme. Midnight Purple 2077. I normally use dark. Dark actually has larger fonts and is a little bit easier for me to read. So, I'll go back to that. Loose! Hey, how you doing there? Happy Super Bowl result. Thank you so much. Yes, our Philadelphia Eagles had an amazing run, and we're really happy with their win last night. Folks here in Philadelphia are going to be celebrating with a parade to celebrate the team on Friday. I loved it, Blazer Mr. Magoo. Even though a lot of other folks really didn't like it because, quite frankly, it was a blowout. It was a blowout. The Eagles did not give any room to Kansas City here. At work, we're evaluating different AI chatbot solutions. We've seen 2 so far, and you're not impressed. Microsoft with Copilot is up next week. I've been making my own with Semantic Kernel and Blazor. Yes, Johan, that's exactly what Project Charlie is. Project Charlie is going to be a chatbot that does a whole lot more here in the channel. I got some more features working, but I need to spend more time on it. And with the Super Bowl this weekend, we visited my daughter on Saturday. I didn't get as much time to work on it as I hoped. Big shout out to the Eagles defensive line. They just crushed. They were amazing. The Super Bowl was this weekend. Oh, you want me to go to light mode? Really? Sure. I'll go to blue. There you go. And we're on that for 15 minutes? Yeah, you ought to find 15 minutes on light mode. Here, we'll put that up. Yeah, there we go. You'll be trying to get to the parade. I feel the same way. As soon as you saw the result, you thought of me. Oh, thanks. Let me see here. All the vampires watching just hissed. Sorry. Let me hold off on using that source code just yet, but let me back up. So there is a question that was opened by our friend Mythin in the Aspire Q&A board that I want to make sure that I answer before we dive in here. Ads are starting. While the ads are running, I'm going to get set up here and talk about this just a little bit. Let's set up just a little bit of test code to show off what's going on in here. So, hi, I'm over here. Oh my goodness, Johan!
Jahab just resubscribed for 72 months.
72 months. Man, oh man, 6 years. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all of that support. Thank you. Visual Studio's improved a lot visually. Yes, they have. Have I tried the JetBrains mono fonts? I have. I like the Cascadia code better. Clarka, just watching on your phone, but want to make sure the comment gets read. Okay, I'll make sure that your comment gets read. You wrote a comment on the hide app host output ticket. I forgot to merge the conflict flag test mode. I have that comment open right over here from Clarka. Just watched the live stream from February 7th of February. I saw I resolved the merge conflict, but forgot to include test only true. Let me take a quick look at this while we're on. The ad break is wrapping up here. Before I do this, it's in the script file. Let me open and go in this way. And I'll open VS Code and we'll take a quick look at that for Clarka is picking up on what might have been a miss here in the build. So it should be branch 06. Let me stop it. Let me make sure I have the latest here. Okay. And it was not a problem. And let's get you straightened out a little bit here. Make sure that you feel confident in what we're looking at. And the comment was, when I run the application, we added this ability. You're right. We added the ability to pass in test mode equals true, right? And this was what I showed over here. Right? There's a test only. So if we have test only come through and we say test only equals true, it should run appropriately. And what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, and right, so if I say test only equals true, that should, right, run the project so that it does start and stop gracefully, and I didn't include it there in the resolution. So there it is, properly hiding the build start process, and it's probably going to take an extra second or two while it's got new code to build here that's running locally. Come on now. So not a problem. I appreciate the comment on the pull request. Oh my gosh, Phil!
Phil Vesey just resubscribed for 44 months.
44 months with us. Thank you so much, Phil. Really appreciate 44 months of support. There it is. Website is running. Here it is. running out. And it's running the tests. I'll zoom in a bit so that it's easier to see because the screen's smaller over there on the side. And of course, I've got a couple test errors. Now, it should have shut down the containers for that very nicely, and it did. They're not hanging out there. So, let me run that one more time, and it will probably run correctly this time. And I don't like that it runs properly a second time, but hey. We'll see how this goes, and then we can get that merged up and make sure that it's running properly here. So it's nice that it's quiet and that I don't see the output. There we go. Running the tests, and I can already see they're running faster. Right? And I'm gonna include that fixed missing test only argument when launching tests. There we go. Thank you so much. And that will get into the mix over. It's actually just going to run it right now, right here. So we'll see in a few minutes if that's completed. I'll share the link there if somebody wants to keep an eye on it and let us know how those do. There's a feature for Charlie. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you for the follow. One more question. You wanted to contribute translation into Czech. Are there any guidelines how to do it? If you take a look, I believe oh, is it in contributing? Development, default user, adding translations. So if you take a look here in the contributing doc, that will give you the couple of things that you need to do. And yeah, set you up and give you some instructions here of how to set up that pull request. I think, yeah, and once an initial block of translations are submitted, we can start to generate translations going forward. Look at that. See, it did pick up, and you can see the text on the hat there. Not a problem, Clark. I understand that some of these files are kind of tricky to locate. Like, there's just this bulleted list of, hey, here's things to do over here on the side. And contributing isn't in that list, right? Like, it's a standard file, and it's not linked over there. So maybe we need to add a link in here or something to make it more discoverable so that new folks can locate it and join the project and become a part of it. We are Super Bowl champions again. That's right, Crazy Flyers gal. How you doing there? Hello. So, Clarka, thank you so much for your interest in the project. I really appreciate you. And when you send over that pull request, we'll take a look and we'll review and provide some feedback and talk through it together. Thank you. So, okay, we got that set up. There you go. And the playwright test ran properly out here. The The unit tests all ran properly with our new script. Fantastic. We're all happy about that. Next steps. Now, I was talking to our friend Gerald Verse Lewis, and I know I mispronounce his last name. I know I do. About this idea of the tests showing and providing a little bit of accountability back to some sort of a feature or an issue. Take care, Clark. Thank you so much. After seeing the Super Bowl, you felt better on how well the Packers did before versus the Eagles? Yeah. Yeah. Or the Rams, right? The Eagles played, our Philadelphia Eagles played the Los Angeles Rams in the snow, and it was not pretty. It was not pretty. And then we played the Washington Commanders. The Eagles played the Washington Commanders, and it was a blowout. Over the last two football games, American football games, our Philadelphia Eagles scored 94 points. That's unheard of. Most games are 20, 30 points is a lot of points. We scored more than 90. It was a massive blowout, yeah. Yeah. And I think because of how the Eagles won against the Commanders, Kansas City over-pivoted and tried to defend the run too much. And it left the passing game open all day. And the Eagles took advantage of it. So, no, not at all. That's not us. Let me show you what I've been thinking of, what we discussed, and we were talking about last week in Stockholm. And I call this test accountability. That's not the final name, but this is the concept that we're taking a look at here, and this serves a couple purposes. So the Chiefs did a great job on the run coverage. That's right. Choker Delphi, that's Toronto. No, yeah, Toronto's having a real hard time in hockey. Real hard time. The idea that we're running with this, and this is something that I started tinkering with here on stream, and I wrote a little bit of code to work on this, and I think we can get a little initial bit of code working here today. We want to be able to decorate our tests with an, I should say, attribute to indicate which feature or issue the test addresses. Now, in MS Test, there is a work item attribute that you can just put a string to, and that's about it. That's all it does. I want to do more with that. We want to generate reports at continuous integration time that shows what features are completed in that pull request and what issues are fixed, so you can link back to an issue. Additionally, then we can show which features or issues are broken when tests failed. So what this should give us, if you look back over here at what we're doing on SharpSite, right? As this commit comes in for this pull request for the 06 release, I've got this little report here that says, here's the tests that this passes. And that was updated. It's more than that now, because we've got some of these other things that we merged in. Anyways, so this report, and of course there's pull requests in here that say, oh, this issue, that issue, this issue, and here's what we've done, right? Here, there, all these things that we've done for issues and features. But looking at these, it is an ugly mess to try to understand and pull together and realize, here's the things that were done. More so, when it comes time to generate release notes, that's a pain in the neck to go through. So what if we had a report that was generated and attached to this Light mode is over. What if we had a report that was generated and attached to this that we could use to actually show, here's the list of issues, here's the list of features that were completed, and very descriptive, very clearly have release notes that show exactly those things. And we can drive that out by attaching just a little bit of code inside of our tests that say, here's the issue, here's the feature. So I was working on a little bit of this locally. Oh, before I get into this, I got to get to the thing that Mythin was asking about. I've been working on this locally, and we're going to dive in and we're going to look at this in and put this together. So I have recent projects and solution. I have a project out here with just some initial code. I started trying to write an analyzer, and I'm realizing this is the wrong thing to do. I wrote a little report collector thing, and this isn't quite right either. But what I want to be able to do, change that theme back. What are you doing here, Fritz? Go back to dark theme. I love that they put the theme selector on the tools menu now. But this is what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to say, this applies to feature 1, 2, 3 inside of my GitHub issues. Done. So now, when it comes time for me to generate those release notes that go with this pull request when it gets merged, I can reach in and grab that list of new features that were decorated as part of this, grab the text of that feature, the link that goes to that feature, and put that in my release notes. Think about that. When this test fails, I can generate a report with the test error that doesn't just say, oh, you added 2 + 2 and got 5. But I can also say, this breaks feature 1, 2, 3. Click this link for more, and it's over there in my GitHub issues. Done. So there's concepts, there's ideas here that we started talking through. We had Eagle Hansen there, Rendell was there, and we started talking through some of these. Lou Creamer was there, and we were talking through these ideas, and it doesn't just help with the release notes, but then for a consulting firm, why am I pointing to myself? But for a consulting firm that needs to show, I've got tests and a bill of materials of, here's what we completed, here's what we're shipping, having it automatically generated from the code with passing tests and playwright tests is a really nice bit of automated documentation. Let me catch up with chat here. The Chiefs disrespected Jalen Hurts, dared him to pass. Oh, yeah, they did. I don't think just the Chiefs disrespected him. The NFL analysts disrespected him. It's a great idea to show exactly what's delivered and the quality behind it. Yes. Yes, Corey. Totally agree. All right. So this code is out here. We're going to dig into this, but I have a question in Discord that I want to answer. Let's go set that up, and we will talk about this. So I'm going to build just the .NET Aspire Starter app here, and I'm going to set up the way that this works. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll talk about what exactly is going on here. So,
oh my.
Hang on. All right. So the idea here that Mythin's running into an issue with is Mythin has a connection string sitting inside of app settings. Ed, how you doing there? You once had an auditor for SOX that required all reports to be in JPEG format. Oh, that's annoying. You want me to go to Viking font? Let me come back to that in a little bit here. I'm distracted. I need to get focused. Because images can't be edited. Yes, they can. But that kind of leads into, like, you want PDFs because the PDFs can be signed. Genius made 400 an hour. Nice. Nice. So, the challenge that Mythin is running into is their connection string when they embed it in the connection strings section of their app host settings over here, right? So doing something like, nope, that's not the one. This one. Sure, something like that, right? Connection strings, and it's all laid out like this. And do I have an extra? Right, I don't know what this is. I don't care what this is, right? Connection strings. Why is it not like that one? Missing a comma after an object member. Well, no. Right. This one goes with the connection strings. But I don't know why it doesn't like that. That feels like a bad JSON parse. So that closes that, and this closes that one, and that down there. I'm gonna save and reopen you because I don't think you're parsing that properly. I still don't think you're parsing it. Comma after, that's log level. Comma after logging. Missing member name. Oh, okay. It should be connection strings at the same level as logging. There's this one that connects to this. And then I've got an extra at the end. Right? Is that right? I think that's right, right? Right, I have that format, right? Doesn't have a quote up front. Get rid of that. That's better. All right. Walmart made you use the bell character as a delimiter instead of commas or pipes. What the heck is that? Everything on the internet you see is true, right? Yeah, there you go. Materiate? Yep. All right. And database here, I'm just going to make this, I'm just going to call it test works because this isn't actually a connection string. So the challenge, what's going on here is, want to be able to add that connection string in and pass it along into all the other things, right? Now, right, with .NET Aspire, you have this idea of parameters and, right, come on now. There you go. So you have parameters defined. Get rid of that one. There you go. And you should be able to add and reference that inside of your code. So when you're inside program here, right? Now let's go up here. I like to put all of my parameter acquisition up at the top, right? So connection string, yeah, right? I want to be able to do something like that. And it's not actually get connection string. It's add connection string. And no. Copilot, you're... No. Default connection. Now, when you say add connection string here, come here. Right? You're going to make me, like, do this thing all from scratch. So, first it wants a name, right? The name of the parameter resource. So, it's the value of the connection string read from connection string's resource name. So, it was called default connection. Right? Default connection. Right? Just to be safe, I'm going to copy that. And you'd think that would be it. So then I can down here say with reference and pass in connection string. Right? And when we go start it, we want to see that being passed all the way through. So, I think the challenge that you're having is you have it in parameters connection strings. Look at this. Failed to start. Why did it fail to start? Failed to apply application configuration value. Blah, blah, blah. So up here, it actually adds that as a configuration item. When we look at this, connection string parameter resource should not be used because connection string default connection is missing. So let's go back over to this jaunt. And we'll go up here. So parameters connection strings is where you would think it is, but I believe it's just right here on the root. So we'll restart that. And no information there. If we take a look into the details, and there it is. Connection strings default connection. If we open that up, test works. So the trick, the gimmick that we're looking at here is if you want to pass in, if you want to specify a connection string in .NET Aspire and pass it along, it's not a parameter, but it's a connection string. Just like this. Just like that section. Okay? So it will pick that up and you can then pass it along. I think that's the answer you're looking for, Mythin. Now, I told you all of this so that I can tell you what we just did here. Me going through and answering a question that somebody asked on Discord is something that I'm going to automate with Project Charlie. What I'm doing, and I'm going to go back to the accountability project. What I'm doing is when folks ask questions, I'm going to put them into a queue. When I take a question out of the queue, I'm going to report that question into Discord with a link to the exact timestamp of when I'm answering that question on the YouTube video. This way, there will be a there will be a Q&A channel that is a summary of questions and how they were answered and links to the videos of exactly when that was answered. So that folks like Mythin, who asked a question and I answered, they happen to be here. If you aren't here when I answer the question or we go through and we test something out later, you can still find it and it's bookmarked and it's somewhere that you'll be able to click back into and find in our video archive. Maybe I'll also figure out a way to attach source code so that if there is code sample there that is important to see, we can go through and find that source code and attach it so that it's all very clear there. Good idea. Thank you, Phil. And DGen1 says it's very cool as well. All right, cool. Thank you. I'm glad you like those ideas. So this is what I mean when I say I'm like significantly stepping up the capabilities of the chatbot. You like that, Terry? All right, cool. I'm glad I'm getting some good feedback on that. All right, I'm glad I talked that through. Now, something that another feature that I'm not quite sure how to finish is when folks say, and C# Titan said it earlier, and we kicked into ads here on Twitch. Hey, Graham, hello. One of the things that I want to also put into the mix here is when folks say, hey, I'm watching from Melbourne, is where C# Titan chimes in from, right? Or wherever it is you might be. I want to put a map on screen somewhere with pins that are dropped that shows here's where these people are watching from. The challenge is some of you are going to lie. You're going to lie like a rug. You are going to, right? So Graham's saying watching from Tokyo. That's fantastic. But if I know some of you, somebody's going to say, hey, I'm watching from the third rock from the sun. I'm watching from the moon. I'm watching from, I can't remember the name of the sea on the moon that Apollo 11 landed in. You know what I mean. These are the things. Some of you are going to lie. So I'm not quite sure how valid I'm going to allow some of those messages to come in. So it's the same as what Pirate Software does with the questions he gets. I do like the way that he queues up his messages. I don't know. Does he drop a timestamp and a link back to the video? I don't know if he does that part. But queuing it up and marking them somewhere, I think, is easy to do. Split the VOD into Q&A shorts like a single view. That's something that I've tried to do with an automated clip generation tool, and man, do they stink. They stink. They're awful. Tranquility, that's it. Surly Dev can back you up here in Tokyo. I trust it. But there's the one. There you go, Moshiko, watching from Uranus. Yeah, right. So, you're watching from the Fritz Man Cave. Really? The corner of my office is where the hat stand is. See, I can't trust you. So I'm hedging my bets on building them. Let's talk about this feature. What this is going to do, the test accountability. And I want to generate as much of this code with Copilot because I don't, quite frankly, I don't know how to do this. And I started building it as an analyzer, and the analyzer, quite frankly, stinks. It doesn't do the thing I want to do. Selfies in verifiable locations required. I think there's other ways we can validate. I think I can stand up a website that has a button on it that says verify my location, and it looks at your IP address and says, yeah, that IP address is right and is in this continent, is in this country, in the region, or fires up the location sensors to the city level and says, yeah, you're in this general place. Nope, there is no VPN for the moon. So, but doing this analysis of where these things are with an analyzer stinks because it looks for a block of text. Right, look at it. Select the attributes and where the name contains this. That's garbage. No. I wanted to actually look at the, do a little bit of reflection, look at that feature bit, and go after it. Doing a little on-screen celebration. Don't panic, indeed. Thank you, Graham. Appreciate that. So that is trash. It's just looking at that text. I don't like it. I wrote this attribute in C# so that we could actually, like, do something with that, right? Otherwise, I don't care. I just look in, comment. Hey, what feature do you comment and say this is? That's trash. No, I want you to hard code, put into code. Here's the number or whatever. And right now I have it start with just a feature ID and with an optional parameter for a feature tracker or a feature tracker URL. Hey, where does this thing live? And we'll figure out more about this. This is me just spitting in the dark and trying to figure out, does this work? So I'm going to go back and delete this code because I think it doesn't do what I want. I don't think any of this code does what I want. I'm going to delete all that. Yeah, go away. But what I'm going to do here, I think, is what I want is a build task. And the build task will analyze the project and then generate a JSON file of here's all the features. I think that's what I want. So let's do this. I'm going to Keith, welcome in. Hello. I think I'm going to go and create, yes, I'm going to create a class here, and I'm going to call this report generation task, right? So you know what? You go away, right? And this is a yeah, thanks. All right, now let me go bring up the Copilot. Where's Copilot? You. Open chat window. Don't mind if I do. We'll keep it on this side so that you can actually see what it's saying, right? Generate a build. Turn this class into a build task that will analyze the classes in an assembly for the... What the heck was that? Boy. Yeah, Skype intruder alert. Yeah. All right. For the analyze the classes for the feature attribute and generate a JSON file, a JSON report that contains the feature information and the fully qualified name of the method, the attribute decorates. This report should be saved to the build output folder. See what it does. So, implement Microsoft Build Utilities task class. Add required references. Yep. Now, I was trying to do this with analyzers over the weekend, and man, was it inaccurate. Oh, baby. So, And assembly path, output path, execute. Sure, that sounds. Update the project file to use the new custom task. Assembly path, target path. Output path feature report JSON. That sounds good. Path to your this. I don't know what this is. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Put that in here. Yeah, it looks good. Do it. Rename this, John. Where's rename? I don't want you generating constructors. Rename the file, man. And what do you mean you don't know what that is? No. No. Where'd Copilot go? Do. And yeah, it contains all those things. We're not one of those now. Task does not contain a generator that constructor that takes 0. That's the wrong task. No. Then this is where I struggle. Like, see, it doesn't know what those are. Not really a source generator. But see, it doesn't have the build task stuff. Code analysis, C#. I don't want analyzers. But looks like I do want these. Save that. Back over here. Okay, now it doesn't know what this is. Yes. Build utilities task. So let's call this... Right, let's see if we can make this a little bit clearer. There we go. Okay. This needs a little bit more description. But I think we're someplace interesting already. Because now I can attach this build task and have it inspect. Let's continue here. To include the custom task and target. So here's where it's actually running the task. And we need to tell it where the assembly file is that has this. That's a pain. Right? So let's take a couple steps here. I'm going to rename this. Boy. Get rid of this. And let's call this build tasks. And we should be able to... Yep. Thank you. So this is going to load the assembly. Go find create a list of method details. Method detail is this method down here. But take a look at all the types in the assembly for each method on the types that is public or non-public, instance or static. And go see, I don't like this. If the name contains feature, don't like it. I want to say where that type is, right, is type of, really, feature attribute. Right? That's a type. Oh, fine. Fine. You won't let me pattern match? So go find those. And if we do find one, get type, get property name. Well, this is an attribute. So actually what I can do there, right, is I should be able to say as feature attribute. So now I don't need to do get property, get value on the name, right? I can do this to start. It's not complete, it's not what I want, but we're getting there. Oh, can I do attr is feature attribute? Oh my gosh. Good point. Right? Good point. Done. Yeah, don't need to dive into all that stuff. You don't understand why connection string didn't work before. So let me back up a second to Mythin's question that I showed earlier. Connection strings do not appear as part of the Aspire parameters collection in app settings. Connection strings that you're reading with the builder add connection string are at the top level connection strings collection. Okay. Isn't there an overload for get custom attribute? Is there? No. I want it's this way. Retrieve a custom attribute of specific type. Okay, so if I do that and we do this and say feature attribute. Right? Or null if no such attribute is found. So I don't need this either. So and now we can actually let's turn this around and do if feature attribute is null, continue. Right? Go find the feature attribute. If you don't have it, don't do anything more. And we'll figure this out. There's more to do here to improve the reporting. For right now, I just want to get it working, and then we'll trim this out so it has all kinds of details that we want to output. Okay. So what the heck is going on here? Yep, here we go. Okay, that's my... we're going to need to dive in there in a minute. So... how do I attach that task right, to this target. And I love the way that works. Assembly path, output path. So when this runs, right, passing an assembly path, output path, and we're loading that assembly here with reflection, and we're writing it out right there. One second here. There we go. I'm okay with all that. But how do we run this? Trying to understand what it's saying here. Edit the CS proj for the project that references test accountability to include the custom task and target. I don't think... this is right. I think the using task I think these two parts need to go in the consuming project, but not in my build tasks project. At which point, if you're referencing, this is tricky, right? Like, regarding the project to update to include the new, what was this called? Report generation task. Shouldn't that be the project that contains the unit tests and references test accountability? See what it says. Like, something that I learned a week or two ago is don't take what the AI tells you at face value. Question it. Make it justify itself. Yes, you are correct. The project should be updated to include the new report generation task is the one that contains the unit tests and references test accountability. This is because the task needs to analyze the compiled assembly of the project that contains it. Ensure the custom task assembly is available. You can copy the assembly to the desired location as part of your build process or include it as a project reference. Update the test units, the unit test project CS proj. So this is the definition of the task with a path to that assembly. Okay. So I'm going to copy these into right, so I wrote this sample test down here, right? The idea being that I've got a project with a stupid, right, a literally just a simple method here that we're going to test. And we wrote a test that has a feature here. And we're going to tell it to go use the build tasks. Now, how do I update that to reference the project? Right? How do I update the highlighted text to use the code built by Visual Studio and running in debug mode? Let it go figure it out. Hey CJ, what up? How you doing? Ensure it's built first. Cool. Do that. So here it's suggesting. There it is. Yep. Do that. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to take this test app, build it, and it should run the build test. Okay. So this probably wasn't built first. Build completed. Good. Take this. Build that. Yeah, this is going to be a treat, isn't it? Unable to load one or more of the requested types in calculator app CS proj. Here. So the generation task. Oh, it can't load the assembly because the assembly isn't done. Excuse me. Right? We don't need you. We don't need you. No, it's after build. It's after build. So right, should be solution directory, source test. So if I go back over here, open folder, right, bin debug, net standard, test accountability, build tasks. Let's do this. Fine. This is net standard. Try that again. No. Retrieve the loader exceptions property. Where do we get loader exceptions? Is it not running this at all? No. Yeah, do that. Yeah, log message. Yeah. That's a good start. Sure. It's locked. Test accountability DLL. Ah. And I can't stop. Hang on. Take a look. To bin debug. It's loading, and then this is going to lock it. I need to put a using around this. Right? Now, why don't you like that? No? Where do I want that? It's like load, reflection only load. This one. Nope, locked. So what's locking it? Do I have any news about when SNLX will be supported by .NET Build? No, I don't have any news. No. Yeah. I don't have any specific news on that. I know that's something folks are interested in hearing and learning more about, but I don't have any details on that yet. Do I need to? I think I need to restart this. See if we can. Right, I just want to get that JSON file written. Not that one. This one. Nope, locked. Oh, wait, no. Bang. Could not load sample test calculator app or one of its dependencies. The given assembly name or code base is invalid. Let's take a look. Test accountability tests, sample test calculator app, bin, debug, net9, sample test calculator app DLL. Yeah, it's right there. Or one of its dependencies. The given assembly name or code base was invalid. Well, it's right there. I can see it on disk. It's right there. And that's the location that it was written to. Thanks, Johan. Take care. Yeah, the SLNX file update stuff is something folks are really, really interested in. But they're making sure that the feature is released and deployed with the proper amount of integration and testing and quality that is necessary for that type of a low-level, significant change to our ecosystem. Excuse me. Whew. Coffee. So why isn't this loading? I'm doing the reflection-only load. And it's clearly in that folder. Right? And is it properly releasing it? Access denied. Files locked. Yeah, it's not cleaning itself up here when this execute fails. No. No. Assembly, test assembly. Right. Replace these. I want to unload it. And it doesn't have a dispose here. No. How do we release the reference to this assembly? The other way I can do this is by reading the binary and passing along the bits and loading that directly. Using assembly load context and unload it. I think we want to put that in a finally. Right there. Oh, nuts. No, no. What? I thought it was control // Oh, alt // move this to a finally clause so that it always runs. Really going to take this long? Like, I could have done this. Have I added a hybrid Maui Blazor project to an Aspire web project? I have not. There are issues doing it. Our friend Gerald vs. Lewis has done it, and it's not simple. Because of how you start the emulator then. I'm not familiar with what they've done, but it can be done, Landon. So that should properly unload it. I'm going to need to restart this. But once I have it generating this little manifest, I'm going to move forward with having it, with adding this into SharpSite so that we can start to tie these features together. So rebuild that, Metadata, source, test accountability, analyzers. Oh, wait a sec. Assembly load context could not be found. Yeah. Come on now. And you don't like that. Why not? Fine. Fix this.
Developers.
Thank you for the follow.
Developers.
No. That was garbage. That didn't work at all. How you doing there, Jack? That didn't work. No. This doesn't compile. What's wrong with it? Fix it. He wasn't wanting to climb new ground, but fine with a hard climb. It's definitely a concept that the team acknowledges they want to be able to handle. They don't have directions for it yet. No suggested changes. That makes me feel wonderful there. Try the 01 then. And do that again. You make me sad. Fine. Fine. You're going to be this way. File.openRead. Assembly path. Where is it? I want to read to end. And it's a byte array. Let's call this assembly file. That I can put a using around. Right? Yeah. Yeah, do that. Okay. Good. No. So now down here, and now I've got the assembly, and it's not locked at all. Which is a weird way to do it. What do I think of GitHub Copilot? There's typical standard everyday tasks that we work on that it's really good at. There are tasks that not a lot of folks write, that it gets confused about and it has problems with. Hey, humongous fungus. I think it's going all right. Error occurred while generating report. I think that's my message. And then it logged the error from the exception. Unable to load one or more of the requested types. Retrieve the loader exceptions property for more information. So here. Let's say error of type, and let's actually put in that ex get type. All right, I'll go over here and I'll put one of these up here. So now I know a little bit more about what that type is, and I should be able to rebuild this. But I've gone completely off of the things that, yeah, look at that, locked. On test accountability DLL. Why is it locking that one? Why is it locking that DLL? Doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Reflection type load exception. Really? Thank you. If exception is reflection type load exception. Yeah, this should be EX. And it's probably not going to load this time. I might have to kill it again. Yeah, didn't release. Hey, Urban Blaster. You were using a UDP client for a connection between two clients, and it couldn't figure out why the second client didn't work. Yeah, that's... There's levels of complexity that it can't figure out. Where'd it go? Retrieve the loader exceptions property for more information. Could not load runtime. Really? It's all sitting right there. If I was doing this as a console application, right? ChatGPT and Copilot are the same thing. Right, you can just point them to different models. So, right, it's a question of which model is it that helps you. No, I don't want to add metadata references. Let's give it a little more information. Yeah, I shouldn't have to reference system runtime. It's running in the scope of something here. This task is unable to load other assemblies because it can't find dependencies like system runtime. Fix this. I'm direct. Fix this. What do we got here? Create a custom assembly load context. Do it. It doesn't have an unload method. What does it have? I think you're hallucinating. Because that's not a thing. Okay. Load from assembly path. Yeah, I don't have a way to unload it. Locked. Gonna restart this. It's a custom assembly load context, which is stupid. I shouldn't have to create a custom context to load something. It should, like, there should be a default out there that I can use. Because assembly load context is an abstract class. Right, I'm down in the weeds here somewhere that I'm not familiar with. Good. Report generation test cannot be loaded from assembly. Test accountability build test. DLL cannot load file or assembly system runtime loader. The system cannot find the file specified. Confirm that the using task declaration is correct and that the assembly and all its dependencies are available. Interesting. Because we actually got it in and running the task. But now you're telling me you can't. Nope, dead. I can't stop the build. And I need to give it instructions, hey, when this crashes, you're locking files. When this task crashes, it locks files and does not release them. Add error handling to release files if it is to release files. Go figure it out. Yeah, I know. There is no unload method. Right? It's doing this finally here. Yeah. There's just one small problem. That's not a thing. Custom assembly load context. Load context. Why don't you like that? Because I put an extra S in there. Yeah, I know it's not null. Really? I gotta do the if is not null. Shut up. If... No, you still don't like it. So you're gonna make me... No, you still don't like that. But it doesn't have an unload. Unload the assemblies from this context. Do it. Cast to assembly load context. It is an assembly load context. It's right there. It has an unloading action, but it does not have an unload method. I shouldn't have to do all this. No. And this doesn't know. Yeah, this dot unload. No. Sure. No. In reflection, no, I don't have it. I'm also in .NET Standard. I wonder if that's part of this. Because I think I can go to Net 9, since I'm not building an analyzer now, I'm building a build task. In which case... You're telling me in reflection, assembly load context. System, reflection, assembly load context. No. No. Yeah. Like, I'm down into stuff that I shouldn't be in. That shouldn't be a thing. Like, I get assembly... But... And... Well... But it's... Name? Sure. Now that appears to be working. That appears to be working. So maybe when I was in Net Standard, I wasn't quite getting the goods appropriately here. Let's see what happens now. Could not load file or assembly system runtime loader. Oh, wait a sec. I didn't build this first. Okay, rebuild completed. No. I need to wrap this up. Oh, it's still pointing to Net Standard. Ooh. In... There. This needs to be... Net 9.0. Debug Net 9.0, test accountability, blah, 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 blah. Test accountability, source, analyzers, because I didn't rename it yet. Bin, debug, net 9, test accountability, build task, DLL. Could not load system runtime. What IDE should I choose for what? Problem is, you use Mac OS. Is it possible I'd be able to work for them using my Mac? Yes, you can work with Visual Studio Code. Rider is good for non-commercial use, but as soon as you step out of that, you're going to need to pay for it. But Visual Studio Code you can use completely for free. But it's not in the IDE. As soon as you say IDE, the only option on a Mac is Rider. I don't understand why that's not loading. I need to wrap things up because it's almost time for me to get into my Monday morning meetings. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save the solution here. I'm going to jump over here, rename this to build tasks, go into my, well, hang on. I'm going to unload this. Flat out remove it, heck. Let me rename that folder. To build tasks. It's in use. Yeah. All right. Reopen, re-add it so that it points all the way through, and then we can do... You're a Vim person? You can set up C# to compile and give you syntax highlighting and type ahead in Vim. There are libraries that will help you do that. Plugins for Vim to do that. Where was I? Up here. Add existing project. Rebuild that. And then this should use that. No. I'm going to commit what I've got at this point. It doesn't work, but it's a work in progress. And this is something that I think we're going to be able to assemble to help us document and share information about our projects. Started writing a build task to generate reports. So it's way early on. I want you to be able to find what we're trying to do there. So there are no other contributors at this point, but I think this has some legs. I think this is something that could become interesting. I do, however, have to get going. I've got to call it a day here. We talked through a bunch of stuff here today. We went through and looked at a bunch of how tests are running inside of SharpSite. And we started taking a look at this idea of test accountability so that we can attach the GitHub issues that are inside of SharpSite to the actual test that exercises and shows that issue working. This way we can generate a little bit of a report, a little bit of a set of release notes that shows here's the new tests that are in this release and what features they provide. Should be a pretty cool little block of code to help out with this. I need to get running here. I need to get into some meetings. Let me see who else is streaming on the big Twitch TV network that I can send you over to and have a good time writing a little bit of code here. You know what? Oh my goodness. This is somebody, a friend of the channel. She's just getting, it looks like she's just getting started writing some code over on her channel. Let's go visit with Dr. Sarah Gutals. Let's go say hello to her. There we go. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk more about how we're building tests. I'm going to see if I can get some feedback from some colleagues and and see if there's anything that I'm doing here that's patently missing or wrong, and see if we can get a step forward on this so we can start putting the test accountability features into SharpSight and wrap up our release here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.